I think we are good to start. Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for your precious time for joining the webinar. Please welcome Mr. Taimur Nawaz. Taimur is associated with the telecom industry since last 17 years. He has worked with many Fortune 500 companies, including Alcatel, Telenor, China Mobile, and San Diego-based Qualcomm Technologies. He is currently working as VP Commercial with Orescom Group of Company Transworld. Welcome, Taimur. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.
And on the other side, please welcome Samia Hamid, a seasoned HR manager, professional, and strategist with the extensive experience in healthcare and hospitality industry. She has progressive experience of turning around HR divisions with key focuses on process improvements and learning and growth. Welcome, Samia Hamid. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Ali.
All right. And last but not the least, we had amazing Samya Kamar, who has vast 13 years of work experience in many organizations, multinationals and the other local industries, including healthcare, management consultancy, hospitality, and recently in financial services. She was awarded Global Goodwill Ambassador for Pakistan for her contributions towards the community in 2018. And she also recently awarded Exceptional Women of Excellence by Women Economic Forum. Welcome, Samya.
Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, no matter where you are, depending on the time zone. So welcome.
All right. So I think we're good to go now. Yeah. So we will start with the interesting information that normally the 80% of the audience are disengaged in any kind of presentation or in any kind of webinar. Additionally, there are only 10% of the information retention within 7 days of time. So if we just consider about the current webinar, it is possible that most of the information is forgotten within few days of time. So considering that, we have designed it a bit differently. So first of all, all of the panelists have put a lot of efforts to, in fact, architect a webinar which is for your benefits. So this is a purely for your benefit. Number two, the architecture of the webinar is with the 4 steps. First of all, we'll have few questions to all of the panelists. So for each of the question, they will give their own view first. And then for each of the question, for each of the topic, we'll go with a Q&A. So we'll have a Q&A at the end, but we'll have one for each of the question as well. And at the end, we'll have the key takeaways. But the most important thing is we'll have the reinforcement, which is a unique factor of AIM Consulting. So let us start with your input first. So let's have a quick poll. Yeah. So there's a question for you, and I request you to please answer this question first. So I request everybody to select the option which you guys like. Panelists can also vote. All right. So, yep. Thank you so much for your response. Let's move forward. So we're moving towards the first questions, ladies and gentlemen. So my first questions to all of the panelists is basically, what do you think is the employee expectation from senior leadership during the current business situation? So I would request that starting from Samia Hamid, Temur, and then to Samia Kamar. So that should be the flow. Can you please unmute?
Thank you so much, Adi. Assalamu alaikum ji, everyone. This is a very important question during these COVID-19 times, that because everything starts with people, and we are dealing with a lot of human behaviors, and which is very rightly that Ali, you have put it at the first place, that what are the employees' key expectations? Because all the organizations, then the plans and the procedures revolve around it. So I think I have put it in I would say that three more key features are the confidence, the communication, and the care. If the leadership is in chaos and confusion, so then what happens is that it triggers down to the employees. So the leaders, the senior leaders have to be confident. They need to be mindful of the situation, because every day, especially in these times, the situation is changing on an hourly basis, on the daily basis. And the leadership has to be firm, and the leadership has to show that confidence that they can make it through, and which leads down to the second key feature, which is the communication. What happens is that a lot of the time the chaos and the confusion creates because there is less communication involved. So the over communication in any company never harms anyone. So the conversations are very important. Because what happens is that in such times, in these times, so the employees are very, they want to psychologically feel safe, they want to emotionally feel safe and physically feel safe, and that can only happen when the conversations are happening. So again, that comes down to what kind of content we are, portraying to them, what kind of talks we are, and they will have questions. Then the third thing, which is also equally important, is the care. So the people want to feel cared, that okay, their company is caring about them. How the companies actually can show it? When you are implementing those safe procedures, when they're seeing the leadership, on the ground, it's not that, we expect our people to work and then, we ourselves are not available. And then we are having flexibility, a very important feature, flexibility in HR practices, because usually a lot of the times people have questions. People have more questions like what will happen about my leave, what will happen about whether I will have my job or not. They have a lot of insecurities, they have a lot of questions. So the leadership has to show patience in that, and in all that process, I think the morale of the employees is very important, that it has to be maintained and it has to be sustained, and HR can play a very important role in that, and the senior leadership can play a very important role in these times. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ali. Just adding on to what actually Samia just mentioned, very rightly, she laid out a very kind of detailed reply. But in terms of key expectations, I would like to actually start with an aspect that it's a very unprecedented scenario. So none of us have actually experienced this as an employee, as a leader. So there are a lot of uncertainties, there are a lot of anxieties within the employees. So they want to be heard. They want to be heard. They want to feel important. They want to have safety at the same time, because it's a very kind of a chaotic situation, so to speak. So what is more important is that communication, as Samia rightly pointed out, it has to be there. So what employees are looking for in terms of their key expectations, I would like to mention that they want to be updated. They want to know what is the future course of action. where is the organization going? So what is the future outlook of the organization? What is the future outlook of an employee also? Because they're anticipating a lot of chaos. They're anticipating a lot of decline in the profits and all. So one of the key expectation is that they want to have a very kind of direct communication with the senior leadership to remain updated about the future outlook of the organization. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, both of you, for covering so many things. Now, I would like to share my perspective on it. So a lot of people, I feel that, they are scared. That is because this pandemic is in the news, it's in the social media, it's in the emails when people, simply open up their inbox, and it's in the usual conversations. We get up, that's the first conversation that comes up almost on a daily basis. Events have been cancelled, and there are several countries which are in the lockdown, and that's for all right reasons. There is no question about why this is happening. So I think looking at employee expectations, first I would say that it completely depends on the leaders, that they have to make a choice. They have to make a choice in the sense that, are they actually feeling the panic, or are they feeling for the preparedness? That's the key question to be asked, because this time shall pass. Like every cloud has a silver lining. So obviously this time is also definitely going to pass. What's more and first and foremost and more important is that how do leaders step up during this time? What type of conversations they are having with their people. And then I am going to talk about the expectations that people have. Expectations are around their feeling, how they want their leaders to stay connected. They want their leaders to kind of understand their emotions, instead of just having those conversations that may or may not even have any kind of impact. Talking about key expectations, I would say they want to have clarity. They want to have transparency. They want to get out of this uncertainty. They want to have their leaders instill confidence in them, so that their confidence is regained when this time shall pass. And at the same time, they want psychological as well as emotional support. I think Samia has already spoken a lot about it. They want to be up to speed in terms of what is happening with the business, which is evolving on a day-to-day basis. And there are no right or wrong answers. But we all have to be part of it. They also are looking forward to kind of put forward the recommendation to the senior leaders that no matter what decisions they are going to take in the future regarding cost containment, what they need to consider is that they should not be losing their key talent. They also want to have sort of international updates and be up to speed with all of this. I think these are the expectations, which are very natural expectations, and leaders should definitely be considering all of them.
Yeah, so this is amazing. This is really amazing. So if I just summarize the topic, we just talked about it. So Samya really talked about confidence, communication, and care, whereas Mahmood mentioned about close interaction, and Samya Kamar mentioned about keep us updated. So if we just consider these 3 points, I think let's open the forum for 3 quick questions. As a participant, if you have any question related to this topic, like what is the employee expectation from their senior leaders? So let's take 2 to 3 questions quickly, and then we'll move to the second question. So you can put your question in a Q&A box, and our panelists will take those questions. So is there so is there any questions? Please put it in the Q&A box. So here comes the first question. So who's taking this question, guys?
Okay, Taimur here. So Shahryar Idris actually is asking for what is the best mode of communication in such times of lockdown. So I can actually, I mean, that's a very pertinent question. It's a very relevant question in the current context. I would actually like to mention in my personal experience also, because for the past 2 weeks, I'm actually heavily relying on a lot of tools, including Zoom and Skype and all. But apart from that, what I've actually realized is that personal attention is very important. So when it comes to certain important decisions, I always actually end up calling the relevant person, and just to make them feel important, because they want to be heard. They want to make, because you see, we are not in an office environment right now. So once you're actually operating from homes, so it's very important to have a very kind of a personalized impact as a leader on your employees, on your direct reports. So I make it a point that apart from using those tools that are available for the conference calls and all, I make it a point to actually make personal phone calls to people, and then I document it via email. So I think what I've realized in the past 2 weeks, just from my personal experience, conference calls, yes, phone calls, yes, but emails are really making a lot of impact at the end of the day, because they're also feeling important, because all those emails, I make it a point to raise it to a higher management also, literally to a president level if it's an important decision. So, and a lot of my direct reports, a lot of my team members, I've got more than 150 people in the team. So all of them actually feel really important when they see those emails, and they're actually copying those emails.
Wow.
So that has a great impact when it comes to emails.
That's great. Thank you so much, Taimur. So yeah, so we'll take one more question. So the second question is similar to the first one. Yeah, so Samya, can I request the question like, what is the key motivation factor in these times? People already worried about being laid off. I think that's a very good question. Yeah. Samya Kamar.
Thank you so much for this clarity. So regarding layoff, I would say the best approach for leaders is to have them engaged at the soonest possible, even if that's the time that is coming, as much as to the extent possible, if they can kind of give that transparency to their people. And then not only just giving transparency, but during this time, because it's an uncertain time, if they can help them prepare their resumes, if they can help them in terms of having those mock interviews, because it's long once employees are with any particular organization, as long as they are getting that support, they usually don't put in any effort to go above and beyond and come up with their updated resumes. I think these are some of the important factors that leaders should definitely be considering. Aside from that, that is also the role of a leader to think about different other ways of cost containment. It's not necessary to simply go ahead and lay them off, because they also need to consider what's going to happen in the future, whether that's the best approach to adopt. Looking at long-term strategy, honestly, that's going to impact the double-digit figures in the bottom line. It will have an impact if they are letting go of their key talent. So making that decision, and I think when it's a very good question. Care is very important. Care during this time, how people need to provide that care to the employees and navigating through that, and then at the same time, what's going to make sense to the businesses too. So if businesses can take any decision around cutting salaries, I've heard about it. I was speaking to one of my friends in Japan as well as Greece, and they were telling me that they're getting one by third of their salaries are cut off, because companies do not want to take that decision of laying them off in the future. So I think these decisions are definitely going to help people as well as businesses at the same time, and it's the interest and a win-win solution for everyone.
That's great. So let's take last question. Samya Hamid, did you find the question relevant to you?
So you are talking about what Mr. Basit has asked about?
Yeah, so you can actually take that question, please. Yep, that's very important question.
So Mr. Basit is asking that there's a lot of fake news in the social media. What can leadership do to clarify what is real risk to my safety? So I would say that, so what happens is that mostly in such situations, educating yourself is very important, you know, and mostly what happens is that people who are teaching are not informed enough. For the safety of the employees, it's very important that, you know, first educate yourself. A lot of the time, because we are dealing with all layers of people, you know, you might be dealing with somebody who is not very, who's a housekeeping staff, who is a non-management staff, then you're dealing with middle management staff. And how we are teaching and training them is also very important. So these are the times when we actually, so I'll just give you an example that we talk a lot about, because I worked in hospitality and a hospital industry, and I can totally relate to it, that, you know, teaching them to how to wash their hands, which is like, you know, so we had to, like, when we are teaching a non-management staff, you have to like show it that, you know, how it has to be done, and train and train and train, and, you know, really repeat it so that, you know, it is understood, because it is important for their safety at the end of the day, because they are the frontliners. So it's very important that first you segregate what is the key, and it also depends, it also varies from industry to industry, because if it's a plant operations, that will be entirely different. If it is in which industry you're setting in. If it is an office environment, then slightly, you know, the safety precautions actually can vary. So I would say that the leadership has to be very well informed and educated for them to, you know, teach and train, and then the people feel safe. Because in these times, you have to tell them that, okay, you know, this is how it is done. This is how you have to take care of yourself. This is how your family will will feel safe as well. And in most of the places, if there are any in-house, you know, wellness clinics available, so, you know, they can actually play a very important role in the workshops and in the seminars. And I think that would be very key to that. Yeah.
Wow. So that's great. So that's like the first topic. We just covered the first topic. So I will now put a second questions to the panelists. What is the best business behavior you feel like senior business leaders are demonstrating? So this is something which is going great right now, and leaders should continue this behavior. So let's have a crisp response from each of the panelists on that.
So
yeah. Samia, Hamid can start.
Yeah. So I think what we are seeing all around globally, because when we are interacting with all the leaderships of the different companies as well, I think listening, which Samia and Timur also mentioned in the previous, listening and with patience, you know, because a lot of employees will have questions. They will, and I think we need to acknowledge that, because, you know, these are the times when you have to be patient. Because there's a lot of confusion, and they have and we'll have to actually, you know, answer them patiently as well, because these circumstances are very different for everyone, and they will have a lot of questions as well. I think employees usually, what it is seen, that they always remember, you know, how they are treated during these times, during any time of crisis, you know, and I think you can touch a lot of loyalty and engagement factor as well. So I would say that, you know, the thing we talked about, the communication and care again and again, is that you have to involve them. You have to bring them together. And this is a time when you can actually make connections. And I have seen, and what we see over the years as well, that in any time of crisis, a lot of teams emerge actually out of that. A lot of skills of people emerge, which you don't actually come across and see in day-to-day routine, you know. So I think that is very important. And the second factor is that empathy. You have to be empathetic. The leaderships have to be empathetic and authentic towards these situations. And I think collectively we call it, and there's a term that is used, we call it an adaptive leadership, that, you know, you're adapting to the situations. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Samia. So building on to what is already very rightly pointed out by Samia, adaptive leadership. So my answer actually might sound a bit academic, but one leadership style which is really warranted in the current scenario, in my humble view, is affiliative leadership. So when we talk about affiliative leadership, it's all about actually, it is centered around your teams in terms of collaborative communication. So you have to bring everybody on the same page. You have to really sync up with everybody to make sure that there's a smooth communication between the teams. So affiliative leadership is all about making sure that the stress levels are not there. There are no conflicts within the teams, because in such environments that we are in, we are bound to have lots of anxiety. We're bound to have a lot of kind of disconnects within the team. We're bound to have a lot of conflicts within the teams also, because people are not there. The face-to-face meetings are not happening. So affiliative leadership style is warranted by all means, just to make sure that everybody is in sync and everybody's on the same page. So that's about it from my side. Yeah.
So I would like to say that I think it's a blessing in disguise. What we had needed, what we were expecting our leaders to actually do in the past, that's the time that they are doing. Both Taimur and Samia, they have covered mostly all of the points. Earlier, we weren't expecting our leaders to be able to navigate through this change. But that's the perfect time they're going through it. They are realizing that they are in it together. They are realizing that it's not about them versus us, it's about us. They know that this time is going to go away, but then they are providing that support to the extent possible, which we definitely would have wanted our leaders to show that degree of empathy. So that's, I think, the perfect time where that realization has come into picture. And on the other hand, they're also navigating through it on a daily basis. So it's not one size fits all. It's not one decision that is going to work in the interest of all. I think leaders are realizing that on a day-to-day situation, on a day-to-day basis, the situations may vary, and they have to be very close with the news and make decisions on that basis. So it's okay to kind of get out of that comfort zone. So I think this is really working in the interest of all.
Yep. So thank you so much, guys. And if we just quickly summarize what the key takeaway, if you could just see that. So we're talking about the best business behavior currently going through is adaptive to challenging situations. So this is something leaders are doing great, and affiliative leadership, and lastly, resilience approach. So we can have again 1 to 2 questions, and for the audience sake, please understand we're taking all of your questions and we're just keeping it with us. So in the live sessions, we're just taking 2 to 3 questions for each of the topic. But after the session, the panelists will respond to all of the questions, and then we'll send you through email. So don't worry about those questions which you already put it. So please feel free to put more questions. We'll take 2 to 3 more questions for this topic specifically. Yep. So if anybody has a question on what is the best rate leaders are doing as of now to manage the current situation, please feel free to ask. Otherwise, we'll move forward to the next question. Yeah, so we got first question. So guys, let's have a brief answer to the question. Taimur, can you start?
Yeah, I can take that. So I think Sharia, thank you very much for it's a very, very interesting and very realistic question, to be honest, because what you're trying to ask, if I understand correctly, that what should be the posture? How should leaders actually behave in such scenarios? Should they really fake it up, or if they're not really hopeful? So leaders are really kind of in the spotlight, right? So they have to be really careful in terms of their communication. They have to be really watchful with their words. So even if they're not really hopeful about the business outlook or the future of the organization, they have to really, at the same time, they have to. It's more of a balancing act, in my view. So they have to really apprise the audience, in this case, employees, about the situation, so that they build the right expectations. I mean, let's not really surprise everybody by really faking it up and telling another story. So they have to be So leader has to be a realistic one. Leader has to build the right expectations, but at the same time should really kind of mentor and coach, because there are a lot of other avenues available. God forbid if there are expected layoffs. So I think that a good leader would be making sure that the employees are well informed, and there are other avenues that leader can actually point out to based on the skill set. But I mean, let's avoid the panic at the same time also. So it's more of a balancing act from the leader. Thank you.
Great. Yeah. So what we'll do, for the sake of time, we'll move forward to the next topic, and that is the third question to all the panelists. What is the one business behavior which senior leaders should avoid? I mean, during the current situation, it is not generating benefit from the employee engagement point of view and the business growth point of view. So what is the one behavior you guys feel that leaders should not continue?
So I think from this question, there is one factor that to reduce not to create the confusion and panic. Again and again, we are talking about that. There will be business, the business continuity plans are going to be hampered. But I think what's more important is, which my respected panelists have also shared. What happens is that in most of the times, so you know, in a time of crisis, people start thinking of these cost curtailment measures and these things only when the crisis happens. A good practice is that these are part of your processes on day-to-day basis, because when the crisis hits, then you have that room actually, and then you don't have to straight away, like Samya very rightfully mentioned, that you don't have to start firing people. So there are a lot of avenues, because even as HR, when we talk about it, there are a lot of strategies which you can implement without actually, because this is a very easy target to do that, okay, let's just start firing people. That is the last resort, I would say, because I think if you know your business, you know there is a lot of hidden costs as well. There is a lot of hidden expenses as well, which you can curtail, which you can actually reduce or shrink for a time being, and I think there is no one magic formula for that, but a lot of different strategies do help actually in and yes, it is a lot of then hard work as well, and that's why it's very important to understand those numbers of your business. So instead of creating, yes, I think that this is one thing which should immediately not be done, because there is a bigger loss of that. Once this crisis is over, which inshallah it will be, your company brand will be tagged then, because if you have like fired people, and if you have like, or your practices were not right and you were not communicating to your employees, for the next coming years, how people are going to see the company, and the employees will have this mistrust issue, and they will not go for those companies actually, because in a business portfolio, these things are also important. You want to look for sustainability. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Samya. So I think you pretty much said, which was really warranted here. So I would say a leader should avoid building undue panic ahead of time. So undue panic ahead of time, because this is a very volatile situation as we speak. Nobody has a perfect answer. Nobody has a perfect clue what's going to happen. We do have some idea. So, but at the same time, we must be really careful, because as I said earlier, also pointing out to Shariar's question earlier, that, I mean, it's a balancing act at the same time from the leader, right? So employees may not really comprehend the gravity of the situation. They may not be really privy to a lot of information. They may not be privy to a lot of business intricacies. So you have to be really watchful in your words, and you have to really make sure that you don't really create a lot of hype and panic ahead of time. So just go with the flow would be my 1 cent. Yeah.
I would first thank you so much. Thank you both every time I feel like you have covered a lot. So how to add to it by coming up with a different perspective. So thanks to that. First of all, I would like to share my views on defining leadership. Leadership doesn't happen, or it is not just limited to having those titles. A leader is someone who manages the family. A leader is someone who is taking care of the community. A leader is someone who is taking care of others at the same time while he or she is going through it. So first of all, that mindset needs to change, that anyone can simply step up during this time. And there is a dialogue. I was watching a video and somebody said that there were so many leaders and they were talking about VUCA, and all of a sudden they are nowhere. So the important thing is that who is going to step up during this time and help others while navigating through it is first and foremost, and is key to this, to managing this crisis situation. Secondly, what I'm going to share is that I'm going to also try to help and answer Shahriyar's question to it as well. When we look at facts, I'll share facts. And so when we look at facts, I think we have done it before. We have had chickenpox, influenza, measles, swine flu, bird flu, you name it. And all of these times have passed. So there is no question that this time is not going to pass. Secondly, if we talk about it from the economic front, so there have been so many crises: 1987 stock market crash, then Y2K bug. We had this tech bubble burst in 2000, 9/11 with global economic implications, 2008 massive recession. So these things have also happened in the past, and that time has also passed. So there is no question about it that this time is not going to pass. So we should, instead of focusing our energy on thinking that only bad is going to happen, I think that is also something we need to look at on the basis of facts, that when that time passed, so there were so many other opportunities. What I would like for leaders to avoid is, and I think Taimur has already covered to it, but still I would try to be very simple about it, that they should be feeding people with the positive. They should be talking about the possibilities. They should be talking about hope. That is the role of the leader. That is why we need leaders. And you don't go through adversity, but you also grow through adversity. And there is a long list. People have completely changed. That adversity has led to so many different behaviors which people never felt that they had. So I think it's up to us how we see whether the glass is half full or it's half empty. So my recommendation would be to see it and look into all the possibilities that can be tapped.
Okay, so that's great. With that, let's see the summary we talked about. So the third topic, key takeaways are like the leader should avoid the confusion, as Taimur mentioned, undue panic and micromanagement, as Samia Qamar just mentioned. So let's have one quick question. I think Taimur, would you like to take this question? Irfan, Malik. So just let's quickly answer this question and then we'll move forward.
So Irfan is saying how you can manage the loyalty of your resources while you're giving them an indication that you're okay. So it's interesting. So I mean, again, it's a bit tricky. So I do not represent HR as such, so I may not be really giving people's perspective from that, but a very commercial kind of perspective, because I head the consumer business. So, I mean, loyal customers are very important. Employees are very important. They are the talent pool has to be really safeguarded at all times. But at the same time, these are the people who are actually intelligent enough to realize that, because they're on top of facts, they understand the scenario. So one has to be really realistic with them. So it's not, so I would start the conversation with like that by actually kind of mentioning to such an employee that we are all in the same boat, right? So we are all together, we're all in the same boat. It's not kind of anybody being made as a scapegoat. We're all going to be together. There are high tides there, but we're going to have a smooth sailing at the end of the day. So you have to really kind of build expectation and just let them know that it's just business as usual. It's part of the deal. It happens this way, and you're not the only one who's going to get affected. It's going to be me, it's going to be Mr. X, Miss Y, whatever. So just build the realistic expectations and just be very, very kind of candid and direct with your even the most loyal and the best employees.
Samya, I think you would like to, Samya Kamar would like to add something in this question, the HR perspective.
Sure, definitely. Thank you so much. So I would say that, and this is purely the HR's perspective. There can be so other ways of looking at it. That said, I would say that we should refocus our energies. Instead of thinking that the worst or the bad is going to happen, make the best use of this time. Leverage whatever benefits are available, leverage whatever resources are available, go through it, upskill yourselves. Obviously, there will come a time when people will be needing talent. The businesses are going to look at, they are, by the way, looking at their business models, what else can be done, how they need to kind of create that emotional connection with their clients. So while they are looking at it, it's important that there shouldn't be any talent gap when the opportunity comes. So how this time can be utilized is again in the hands of those people. Whether to worry about what's going to happen, or whether it's going to happen or not happen, who knows? While I agree that it like the anticipation is that there is going to be a global recession, but again, who knows whether the company where you all are working, they are going to make that decision or not. At the same time, like I said, businesses are looking into different ways of operating. They are looking at what else can be done. Their problems are changed. They are looking for new and creative solutions, leading to numerous other opportunities. The question then will become, from the HR's point, whether the talent is ready, whether the talent is skilled enough to take up those roles. So that's very important, to stay connected with the research, what's happening, what type of talent will be required, and how can you all upskill yourselves just to make sure that you are grabbing those opportunities when they come our way.
That's great. Thank you so much. So with that, we're moving to the last question. So for the sake of time, because we need to wrap it up at sharp 12 o'clock, I would request panelists to brief your answer to 1 minute. Yeah, I would request that. So what is the one business behavior that you believe leaders should start immediately? So that's like starting from Samya Hamid. Try to cover it in 1 minute's time, please.
Thank you, Ali. So I think one thing which is very immediately required is that the leaders should start navigating the business continuity plans. So at times like these, there are a lot of more business opportunities which are coming up. So it's all about looking at it in the pre and post crisis scenario, because you have to make the business sustainable as well, in the post crisis as well, and even in the existing crisis as well. And there are, like we mentioned earlier as well, that there are so many things which can be done. It's all about which industry and which company you're working for, and there are in bits and pieces you can do that. So I think it's about making those business continuity plans and having those cost curtailment. You are looking at your business models from the infrastructure point of view, from the HR point of view, I would say, because it really redefined the whole work from home procedures and the suppressed, compressed hours and it really initiated it. A lot of the companies who were not doing it and have started doing it. The whole thing is to even continue those practices which should be available there. From the IT perspectives as well, as we mentioned in the earlier as well, that all of us have started using Zoom, and so it's I think it's a new way to look at businesses as well, because this is what you come out of the crisis. You can identify a lot of opportunities as well. So yeah, that would be my take.
Great.
Yeah, I would say instill positive energy within the team. So because you need to lift the spirits at such times. This is one kind of key message as a leader to my team. Also, just adding on to this point, I would like to just quote a very relevant, I was reading last night a book. So there was a quotation, I thought it's very relevant in this scenario. So Charles Darwin actually says it's not the strongest of the species that survive, not the most intelligent, but the ones who are very responsive to change. So you have to really make sure that you're receptive and you are responsive to the current paradigm. Yeah.
Great.
And so I will say that, trust is very important. People should be trusting their people. You cannot expect them to work the regular shift now when these lines have completely blurred. So expecting that they will have the standard work shift where they'll be sitting in front of the laptop or computers all the time is what, they need to stop, and instead they need to trust their people that they'll get the work done. And also they should be shaping their messages where they acknowledge the emotions, whether it is fear, whether it is anxiety, whether it is depression, worry, pain, whatsoever. But having that realization and being very close and acknowledging them, those emotions is something which they should start immediately.
Yep. So that's really great. Thank you so much for that. So with that, if I just summarize what are the key takeaways from this point. So I would say that we talked about navigate and assessments, as rightly mentioned. Taimur mentioned about positive energy and strong communication. So taking these points in context, let's take the last question, which is just mentioned here. So I would request Samia Kamar Samia Hamid to kindly take the questions, how to create a sense of urgency without stressing out your team, and then we'll move forward.
So I think it's about prioritizing. This is also, I would say that, understanding the needs of your team, the fears of your team as well. And then very rightly, Samya, also mentioned the having the trust in your team. So if we are so you need to understand that, okay, what becomes automatically the top priority, what are the top 3 things you want to focus on. So because these are the times when you cannot actually even focus on all the 10 things. Like, you need to actually prioritize, which is important to make so whatever is most important, which can actually make the business running, that would be beneficial as well. Because what adds on to is that there is a current situation, there are circumstances which are happening, and if we are actually exerting those pressures on the and the stress on the team as well, then they will not even function, and the productivity actually starts affecting, I think. So I think this is actually a good time to actually all those team managers and the leaders to come up and be actually those team builders as well. Yeah.
Great. So yeah. So with that, I think let's move forward. I'll just quickly summarize what are the key takeaways for all these 4 questions. So the first question was about employees' key expectations. So then we talked about 3 areas, which is confidence, communication, care, close interaction, and keeping the people updated. So that was the first expectation. Then we talked about behaviors which are giving best results to the employees. So adaptive to challenging situations, affiliative leadership, and resilience approach. These are the 3 factors which leaders are doing great, and which behaviors should be avoided: confusion, undue panic, and micromanagement. So these are the 3 areas which leaders should avoid now. And as we just talked recently, the behaviors which leaders should start immediately. So that's the navigate and assessments, how will be the life right after this COVID. And we need to keep the energy level. We need to be positive about it. And the communication need to be stronger as much as possible. So these are the 4 areas. So considering that, so we will just cover all of that. Now, my request to the participants would be, based on all these 4 areas, we've taken some of the questions, and we promise again the questions which you guys just put it on the Q&A section. We'll send you the answers through email. So respectable panelists will write the answers, and we'll share with you guys. Now, for the next 2 to 3 minutes, I would request each of the participant to write down one key takeaway from this conversation. You can put it in the chat box, and then we'll just quickly see that what is the key learning you have taken from all these 4 topics and from the Q&A topic session. So please feel free to put it in the comments and the chat box. And meanwhile, yeah, so when people are putting there, yeah, so you can use the chat box. Yes. So we got the first one. Yeah, so somebody said, I just joined. Yeah. Okay. So kindly share your key learning here in the chat box. One key learning. Yeah, so that's the first learning. That's a very good learning, I believe. This shall too pass. Having a balanced approach. Yep, that's another learning. And we are all in it together. That's another great. I think it's a quite positive learnings. Any more learnings, guys? Whoever, we would request to have one learning from each of the participants. Directly connect with staff, one-to-one basis. Make a direct call. I think that's very important. Like to have, as Samia mentioned as well, more and more communication with employees because everybody is worried. Go with the flow and be responsible. This shall pass. Yeah, that's right. It's a time to start improving your processes and start delegating and putting trust in your team to do their job and getting updates on a defined frequency. Good. Over communication is better than under. That's wonderful. That's really great. Over communication is better than under communication. I like it. Keep business continuity plans updated and real. Yep. Yeah, so we need a few more. Yeah, so we have more participants. So please share your one learning from today's session, please. We're just reading your messages in the chat box. Affiliative leadership. So your point, Taimur, affiliative leadership. Leaders should be taking along the teams in this situation. Yep, very, very important factor. Be honest with messages. Yep. So I think that's fine. Thank you so much. Not just talk, act as well. So that's a great messages for the learning point of view for all of us. So let's move forward, guys. So thank you so much for sharing all these. So what is next? A very interesting reinforcement. So what will happen? We will share the key learnings which the leaders just shared. You'll get slides, not these slides. You'll get the document with the brief of what we talked about today. So there's one action for all of the participants. since drawing is something which actually enhance the learning and memory, we would request to just draw the key learning and send us through email. So our panelists will shortlist the best one and will post it on LinkedIn, and you will get a surprise gift as well. So just draw one learning from this webinar and send us through the email by today or tomorrow. So it will be drawing, how do you feel leader, how do you see the process, how do you see the organization, anything. So we'll just find the relevance and we'll find the message and we'll show it on the LinkedIn together with sharing some interesting gift to the winners. Okay. So with that, I would like to thank each one of you for taking 1 hour with us. And I hope it was a very learning session for all of you. We try to engage everybody. We answered few questions. We'll answer all of the questions later on. And with that, I would humbly thanks a lot to Taimur, Samia Hamid, and Samia Kamar for their precious time and all the efforts during the readiness. Thank you so much. And with that, we are ending the session. You'll get the recording and you'll get the answers filled. We're looking forward to have your beautiful drawings so that we evaluate, and we'll just put it on LinkedIn and give you a surprise gift with that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take
guys.
care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Guys.
Allah
Take care.
Hafiz.
Bye.
Hafiz.